We're pleased to welcome now the mayor of Biloxi, Mississippi, His Honor Andrew Fofo Gilich. Good to see you there, Mayor.
Appreciate it, man. Great to be here. Great
Man.
to have y'all here and enjoying what we're enjoying right now. I'm telling you, we're just so pleased, and as we think of some of those our neighbors in Florida, but we're blessed and we're prayerful for them too.
Yeah,
it's great to be here, I can tell you.
Absolutely. So, I was just commenting in the last segment to Greg Cronin, who, of course, is a member of the Board of Commissioners for Coastal Mississippi Tourism, that seems like the crowds are a little bit larger at this time of day than they typically are. I think this thing gets bigger and better every year.
Well, I feel it. I mean, and just walking the crowd, to Howard Avenue all the way. I mean, there's a lot of folks and there's a lot of cars too. But I think from registration, from 9,000 versus 10,000 last year. But I think the storms and some of them may have something to do. But there's a lot of folks. There are a lot of folks here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be proud. You got a great city. You got a lot to sell. You see people come to the Gulf Coast, Biloxi, and they enjoy themselves, and they also stay in the hotels and eat in the restaurants and spend money.
Right. Yes, sir. We're appreciative of that, and this is a big part of. We're blessed. As far as the folks who are conceptual. In a season where you don't have what we see now.
Yeah.
It's sort of you got a Mardi Gras. You got you got cruising. You got of course summer, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Configuration of
one after another, which is good. So, tell us about the city of Biloxi. How are things going?
Well, good. Again, we were always concerned. Just a few weeks ago, when you're trying to get your act together, preparing for this, but then here come the threat of a storm. And even though it's way off, you spend a day and a half trying to get ready in case it does, and then do the things that you need to do. But we're fortunate, and things are moving along. I think. From an economic standpoint, we just finished our budget, and October 1 was the FY year, and we're off and running. And just like economics and fearful, I guess things that could be happening, inflation or some of the other factors that may impact. In business, you're always worried about
Sure.
Your revenues and your expenses working out together, and that's always the case here too. But we're moving right along.
Is the sales tax diversion, Mayor, is that your primary source of revenue?
No. Of course, gaming. There's
gaming revenue,
as well as the sales tax diversion, and we've been right on track for the last 3 years, even with the pandemic. Gaming revenue and sales tax. We're around $15 million a year for sales tax, and that's been steady. So it's hard to kind of budget record revenue every year.
Sure.
But we've been fortunate since 21. I think 21 right in the middle of the pandemic, and out of the pandemic we had a record gaming revenue. I think prior to that the most gaming revenue was in 2004. But then at 21 exceeded that figure, and then 22 exceeded 21, and 23 exceeded 22, and we're hopeful 24 does its thing too. So it's all balancing, what you have to balance. You never know what other factors like storms or
Sure.
economy or elections or some of those things will impact, and even perception of those. Not so much realities, but
That's
perception.
a good point. Yeah. So what about your organizational chart? How are you looking from a staffing perspective through the various departments in the city?
Well, entry level, we've actually made some adjustments, as far as folks that are laborers and utility workers and so forth, that, and everyone, the whole nation experienced some of the not being able to get your force, your
tight
workforce
labor market,
together,
no doubt.
And then also police and fire. It's hard to make sure that we treat our police and fire, our first responders, compensation-wise as well as just being appreciated. I think that's the challenges. And then everybody, in the middle of it, you hear about inflation and about what we need to do to keep your head above water, and that was a challenge. I think we did a great job with our police and fire and as well as our entry-level folks.
A major, of course, responsibility of a city, of a municipality, is always the infrastructure that serves the people that live in the city, specifically the roads, the bridges, and the water.
That's right.
And that's is constant maintenance. It's constantly aging. It ain't getting any younger.
That's right. That's
But I noticed just doing a little traveling around the downtown area and so forth last night, Mayor, it looks like you've had some projects going on.
We have. When I became mayor in 2015, we had in the middle of the Katrina recovery project. It's $355 million. We've done all but about 120 at this point in time.
Yeah.
But that's deep sewer. So we've actually, when it comes to storms and storm drain as well as water and sewer, you notice in everywhere, where gravity can't help you, you have to have lift stations.
Sure.
Well, this design of the Katrina recovery was we eliminated about 75 lift stations, but what that means you had a deep sewer from about 10 feet down to 34 feet down.
I got you. Got to have some fall.
That's right.
Yeah.
And 34 feet deep is a hole.
Yeah.
Is a hell of a hole here. But anyway, so we're finished that as far as on the peninsula, and we're moving out to the west with a water sewer and storm drain as well as the street. So we're in the middle of that, and you can see some of that as you drive Highway 90.
It's a constant need, of course.
That's right. I think in 1957 was the first sewer system in Biloxi and on the peninsula, and it was only supposed to last 25 years. So 57 plus 25, we're on overtime on the infrastructure, but it's something that people deserve and need, because when things don't flush or things don't you don't have the water that you need. Yeah, we've been fortunate, and we've used, again, from a tax standpoint and revenue standpoint, we have not raised millage in 28 years.
Okay.
So that's
pretty good.
Strong.
Yeah, that really is. So you and I were talking offline. We got a big election coming up. Is there anything in particular that would affect you at a municipal level based on who might end up winning the presidency? Is there something that's good or bad for you one way or another?
It would be a surprise if there wasn't an impact one way or the other.
Sure.
But again, the theme is what drives us. And some of the reactions, and we're still, from Zeta, that wasn't too many years ago, and we're still overcoming, some of the I guess procedural and paperwork to get the things we think we deserve. And the same thing in 19 with regard to the Bonnet spillway.
Yeah.
And again, Corps of Engineers and some of those things that were done to kind of help. We've had a pretty significant impact to tourism when it comes to Mississippi River, and it's not fresh water. It's the pollution that comes, it finds its way on our Gulf Coast, and that's a big impact.
Yeah.
And again, perception is everything too. Almost like the BP oil spill, and the perception that the shrimp and some of the fish were not satisfactory.
Have you talked to our congressional delegation, our two senators, Representative Ezel, who represents the 4th District here, about how can we streamline this process and cut all this bureaucratic red tape out?
We have, and Senator Hyde-Smith and Senator Wicker, and we talk all the time, and
Sure.
Congressman Ezel, because it is a big problem, and it's a if somebody's trying to wear somebody down by the bureau,
it's ridiculous.
Hey, it's straightforward. They use a set of calculation. Well, this is supposed to cost this much. When they haven't built anything, build a pier. See what that costs now. And they use old numbers in order to say this is what we're going to give you, or this is what you can expect.
Yeah.
So that's a frustration. But we talk to them all the time.
And it seems like that's kind of been the case here with the response to Helene. It's not so much a function of money as it is just cutting through all the red tape.
No doubt.
And it also seemed like FEMA was a bit late being on the scene.
No doubt. I mean, I can appreciate that now. I'm not.
Have you dealt with that before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just timing is everything, and time is money. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Time is absolutely money. And then the hurricanes and some of the things from last year. It puts. Getting supplies, getting the marine kinds of stuff that obviously we're, always concerned with.
Yeah.
But, time is money, and if you can save time, you're saving money,
Just seems to me like that the Congress would be well served, perhaps, if they invited some municipal leaders, such as yourself, up to Washington to have a hearing to talk about what this process ought to look like and what we can do to make it better.
That's right. I mean, if somebody pays attention, I don't know, the routine and the bureaucracy that they operate in. If it was explained to me, maybe now I could adjust. They
don't want you to know.
Well, maybe so. But I know I'm still fighting. Those things from Zeta.
I hate to hear that, man.
But
really
it's a fight. I mean, that's okay.
Well, Well, we appreciate you fighting on behalf of the residents of Biloxi, the Gulf Coast, and the state of Mississippi. It's a fight that's worth having. Mayor, always good to see you, sir.
Great to see y'all. You know, anything we can do, we'll get the word out. We're trying to push it forward.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Gerard.
We appreciate it. Yes, sir. Folks, we're stepping aside.